Life is filled with unexpected turns and rapid changes. The woman who deeply hurt you by turning you against her is now dealing with the consequences of her actions, and everyone around you is aware of the shocking truth. You haven't known anything until now. Last night, an unfortunate event occurred, leaving her without a place to live. The severity of the situation will shock you. God always shows the truth at the right time. Right now, He's letting you see what's been going on behind the scenes. This woman unexpectedly found herself in a difficult situation. Previously, she appeared to be in control. Readers will discover shocking plot twists in this message. They have to do with karma, life choices, and divine justice. Part 1. The Betrayal. How it all began. 1.1. You remember very well the moment she turned the person you loved against you because of someone else's influence. Through lies, deceit, or a bad influence, this woman entered the picture, manipulating and persuading your loved one to leave. She was able to create a distance between you and the person you truly cared about at the time. You might have felt hurt, misled, and lost. You wondered why this happened and how someone could get so involved in your relationship so quickly, but you stayed strong even though it hurt. God knew how sad you were and how unfair things were for you. Now, the person who was unfair to you is paying for it. 1.2. The deception may have brought you through a difficult period in your life. You knew deep down that someone who wasn't looking out for your best interests was planning the betrayal. You wondered what went wrong and maybe even blamed yourself. Even though this woman was able to hurt others, she didn't know that her acts would come back to haunt her. If His children are sad, God never leaves them for too long. Since that betrayal, you've faced numerous challenges, yet you've emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You'll start to understand how God's justice works in strange ways. Part 2. What transpired last night was the catalyst for her downfall. 2.1. The start of her problems. While you were getting better, this woman's acts have been catching up with her over time. Nobody could have seen the problems and hurdles she's had to deal with. Her life, which used to be full of pride and attitude, is beginning to fall apart. Small problems led to bigger ones over time. She struggled with relationship issues, financial difficulties, and personal issues, all of which she attempted to conceal from others. However, a significant event occurred last night that fundamentally transformed her life. 2. The terrible thing that happened. She no longer has a home. Something terrible happened last night, causing her to lose her home. She lost her home, her safety, and the life she used to have. She made decisions that not only led to this situation, but also went against your wishes. These decisions affected other parts of her life as well. She had built walls around herself, but the weight of her choices finally broke them down. She now finds herself in a dire situation. The people around her know the truth about what took place. They have seen her fall from power, but they haven't told you this until now. People who used to believe in her and stand by her either stopped caring about her or turned away, leaving her to deal with the harsh truth of her position. Part 3. What divine justice does. 3.1. It is fair that God is just. It may seem unfair that someone has to live on the streets, but we must remember that God's law is perfect. He sees everyone's heart and knows why they act. When someone does something bad, dishonest, or selfish, it will ultimately hurt them. This is not about getting back at him or hurting him. It's about what happens when you don't live your life in line with God's will. According to Proverbs 26:27, a person who digs a hole will fall into it, and a person who rolls a stone will face its impact. This woman made a hole for herself by using you against you, and now that hole is coming back to haunt her. She sowed the seeds of disagreement, and now she is bearing the consequences. 3.2. All along, you were safe. Even through your pain and heartache, God has protected you consistently. God protected you from further harm. He knew that this woman's power would eventually wear off, as he had the ability to see what you couldn't. Even though she may have set your life back for a while, she could never change your fate or the plans God has for you. This fall is not a celebration of someone's misfortune, but a demonstration of God's hidden workings. He has been preparing the ground for your healing, restoration, and blessing, while also preparing her to confront the consequences of her actions. What God wants you to know is in chapter 4. 4.1. When you learn about this woman's position, don't let anger or spite take over. It's okay to have a lot of different feelings. Though you may feel vindicated or fair, God wants you to keep your heart from being angry or bitter. Now is the time to think about His kindness, mercy, and forgiveness. Even though this woman hurt you, God wants you to pray for her. Please pray for her healing, a change in her heart, and her salvation. Forgiving someone can be hard, but it's a strong tool that can help you let go of hurts from the past. 4.2. Your excellent luck is on the way, but this woman's life is coming apart. Things are getting better in your life. Behind the scenes, God has been doing amazing things for you. The pain you experienced is transforming into something beautiful, just as her actions are returning to haunt her. Your loyalty and persistence are bringing beneficial things into your life. Through it all, you've stayed strong, stayed true to yourself, and trusted God. Now is the time for your breakthrough. This challenging part of your life is almost over, and then God will bless you in ways you never thought possible. The 5th chapter, moving on. What are you going to do next? 1. Pay attention to getting better and healing. What happened to the woman who hurt you? You now know the truth. It's time to focus on your own happiness and growth. This part of your life is coming to an end, and God wants you to move on to a new time of healing, plenty, and happiness. Don't stop improving your mind, emotions, and spirituality. Great things are coming your way, and the more you work on growing as a person, the more ready you'll be to receive them. 5.2. Forget about the past. Leave the pain, betrayal, and sadness of the past where they belong, behind you. They don't shape your future. God is starting over with you. No matter what this woman or anyone else does, don't let it stop you from entering the wonderful future God has planned for you. Let go of the hurt, forgive her, and move on with confidence. This experience has strengthened you, and you're ready to face your fate proudly. In conclusion, God's justice, forgiveness, and fresh starts. These lessons teach us about God's perfect time, justice, and plan to save us, not just how someone who hurt you will fail. The woman who turned you against her is now having to deal with the results of her actions. More importantly, you are entering a time of healing and reward. As you can see, God has been at work in the background throughout this process. Now He's telling you the truth. Remember that God always has beneficial plans for you and that His justice is always right. Leave the past behind and look forward to the future. Have faith that God will lead you to something wonderful. This should tell you that God sees everything and is always working for your good. Your big break is on the way, and the difficult times you've been through are turning into the beneficial things that will happen in the future. Trust that God is leading you into a time of abundance. Keep your heart open and forgive those who have hurt you. Yes,